Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is General Dreams and I'm Mike. So today I was going to do a review on my 2020 General XP4. I ordered this about 2 weeks after they first became available to start ordering. I almost bought a 19 and I went to look at the Polaris website to show the wife one last time. It's like, yeah, we'll get this one and we're going to put 30s on it. We're going to do this and this. And this thing popped up. I started studying it and it had everything that I was planning on doing to a 19 and a couple other things. So then I did the math. Okay, if I do it myself, I'd have custom wheels and I'd have this and I'd have this. It just wasn't feasible. It made more sense to wait and to get the XP. So I put in my order. I had to wait a while. I was able to pick it up from the dealer in November 9th, 2019. They had it for a week or two before I picked it up. They had to assemble it, they come, the cage isn't on and a couple other things. So they had to assemble it and they were supposed to install the heater for me. Told them what time I was leaving the house, told them what time I'd be there. It's 3 hours away from where I live. And they said no problem, it'll all be done. I got there an hour and a half later than I said I was going to be there. They still weren't done doing the assembly. That's a whole nother story. They did not put the heater in. I wound up taking it myself to put the heater in. So I picked it up. I ordered the upper doors, the heater. When I ordered the machine, and when I was picking it up, I bought the little LED bar that's on the front bumper. So I picked it up in an enclosed trailer. It was too tall for the trailer, so I'd let all the air out of the tires to drive it in there, tie it down, brought it home, pulled it out, had it sitting right over there in the yard, pump up all the tires, taking pictures. I'm all excited, ride around the yard a little bit. I'm all excited. I believe it was the next day. I'm looking at it. Friend comes down. I ride him around the yard. It's like, oh man, this is fun. Oh, we should take it over to Brian's house. We take it over there, and I wind up dragging brush on it. Not even 2 days old. Just dragging brush down the sides. It was a blast. But it didn't have the top on it. Didn't have the window. It was cold. So I went to install all that stuff. One of the problems with buying the first model is they had just come out with the ride command that had the 400 watt Fosgate stereo system. The problem is that it comes with a woofer mounted right under the dash right here. And this is the same spot that the heater goes. So if I would have known that, I would have not got the ride command. I would have just got the heater, because I bought this to use in hot weather, cold weather, nice weather, everything, It's a universal machine. That was the purpose. So that was a pain in the butt. I was able to remove the woofer, make a custom bracket for the amplifier, get the heater installed, and it works great. I ran wires from the woofer to the back, so someday I can add a woofer back there to get the bass. I wasn't really missing anything when I removed it, because the wire was never hooked up to it. So when I first got it and I was cranking the stereo and go, oh wow, that sounds good. Well, it didn't even have the subwoofer hooked up. So someday I put a subwoofer back there, it'll just be that much nicer. I love the utility of it. I live on just under 6 acres and I use it around here quite often. I use the dump bed. I haul firewood. After storms, I gotta pick up trees and branches and stuff. It's good for that. I haul the trailer that I haul this on behind this. I've done that several times where, you know, it's a 8-foot wide, 14-foot long flatbed, and I've just had that thing just piled full of yard debris. It hauls it great. It can tow 2,000 pounds, even though they advertise they tow 1,500. This model can do 2,000. I don't think the two-seater can. I think it's only the four-seater XP. Up and down my hill, my driveway is really steep there. It'll stop it, it'll pull it, everything great. I've done rock crawling with it, mudding with it, sand dunes, snow. Handles everything great except the sand. So the problem with the sand is I've bought 5 belts for this machine in the time I've owned it. I'm doing this video on January 8th of 2022, so it's been a little over 2 years that I've owned the machine. I bought 5 belts in that time. I bought one right out of the gate. It was a Gates. I bought that. Did I buy it at the dealer? I did not. I bought that online. It was recommended by one of the salesmen. I did the break-in on the factory belt. Took that off. Put the Gates belt on. Did the break-in on that. Had the factory belt for a spare. I think I made 2 trips to the dunes, plus lots of other stuff up in the mountains and things like that. But I think it was 2 trips to the dunes. I was going to make one more run up the face, and I wanted to race my buddy up there. So I went to try to catch him, and I broke the belt. So that was the Gates belt. Later on, I learned that the Gates belts are supposedly just a hair short, which could be a benefit depending on how your engine spacing is. They don't always come exactly the way they're supposed to be. That's a whole nother subject. I got videos on that subject. Causes clutching issues, belt slippage issues, all that. Anyway, so that was the first belt I broke. The second belt I broke actually came apart when I was in Utah driving down the road at a higher speed. That belt had been to the dunes, and I was very suspicious that that belt was not up to par, but it seems like I never have any problem when I'm on dirt or rocks or any of that stuff. I only have a problem in the sand. So it's just too much drag. You got a lot of machine in the sand. It really works the machine. And I just have a little bit of slipping issue, just barely. It doesn't burn the belt, but you smell the belt getting warm. And I've disassembled it and have inspected it, and you can see just a little bit of mark going around there where it's just slipping a little bit. You get a little glaze on the belt. So I've done the clutch kit. I've tried different weights in the clutch kit. I've tried different belts. That's one of the reasons I've bought so many belts, because every time I have tried, an airplane up there having fun, every time I have tried something different with the clutch, I put new belts on it, because I want to know that the improvement to the clutch is helping and not I have a bad belt. Part of the reason I have bought so many. Out of the 5 belts, it comes with one, so that's 6 belts total. 2 of them are good. One of them is questionable. And I say questionable because that is the factory belt when I was having a little bit of slipping issue. So I use it for a spare, but I'm afraid that it got warm too many times. So I have 2 spares, one on the machine, and I have a couple broken ones in over 2.5 years. Only in sand do I have the issue. So supposedly these machines come with a lower gear ratio because the XP comes with a 30-inch tire, and the standard Generals, I believe, come with a 27. Might be a 28. No, pretty sure it's a 27. Yes, it is. They come with a 27. So if they did gear it down, they didn't gear it down enough for sand, in my opinion. Because even when I was running stock tires on the sand, it'll get around everywhere. It'll do the job. You can have fun. If you don't worry about breaking the belt and the smell of that belt getting warm doesn't bother you, take an extra belt and go. It'll do it. You can have fun. I can keep up with my friends for the most part. Later I bought paddles, and I got 30-inch paddles. They're 12 inches wide, so I got more flotation. They have 14 scoops on them, and after trying lots of different combinations, I've put front tires on back tires on front, switched everything around, tried the paddles on the back with different tires on the front for when you're running in four-wheel drive, to see what the differences are. And if you're going to run stock tires on one of these, it works best, in my opinion, if you take that front tire, put it on the back, and put the back tire on the front. Because the front tire is built more like a swamper. So you have little scoops. This is, you know, you do have some scoops, but that just, it bites better. So if you want to run that way, switch them, you get a little bit more go power. But back to the paddle. So the paddles, I've come up with, I'm over paddled with that tire. So I'm going to try a 28-inch 12 paddle. I'm running a CST Sandblast on a Tusk beadlock, and I'm just going to take that 30-inch off and put a 28-inch version on. So one time I put the paddles on backwards and tried it at the dunes, thinking that it wouldn't scoop as much and maybe perform better as far as putting the load on the belt. So my theory with the smaller tire and 2 less scoops is I should be able to keep that spinning more and not have as much load on the belt. So that'll be interesting. I'll do future videos on that when I actually get those and go try it. Let's see what else. It has pretty resilient door frames. I have a video on this. This door I didn't have the top on, and I took off, and the joys of a suicide door, it popped open like that. Well, it didn't pop open. I didn't have it latched fully. Caught a door right here, pushed it back, bent the framework in here, bent the hinge. This bent back against there. The door's supposed to stop here. It stopped back here. I couldn't even close it. It'd go to there. So luckily I had a tie-down strap in the machine, and I was able to tie it closed to get home. Had the grandkids with me, and they got out and they went for a walk, and I was gonna go down the road and pick them up, and I should have done a walk around it. I was the one that got her out of this side too, so I got no one to blame but myself. But I was able to bend it all back together. Door closes just fine. The paint, so like I said, I scratched this thing up the second day I had it. If I look at it at an angle like this, I can see all the scratches. You look at it like this, you can hardly see any. Whenever I come home and wash it, I spray it with furniture polish and buff that out, and looks great. I've never had soft top before with these plastic windows. I was surprised at how easy they scratch. It kind of looks similar when you get back at this angle. You'll see all the scratches in this. It looks similar to this, so I suppose it's realistic. They scratch as easy as your paint does. Except your paint you can buff out. On the car anyway. This one isn't quite as scratched up as this one because it's not on all the time. These are pretty much on all the time, other than that time where I caught the door. They're clear enough that I'm able to use my binoculars looking through them when I'm hunting in the cold weather. I can see clear through them even with the scratches that are in there. I don't have to fold them down or open the door. My friend has an aftermarket version, and he can't see through his to binocular. It's not clear enough, and I don't know if that's because he's had it for a year more than me and it has more scratches, or if because it's aftermarket it's not the same quality plastic. I'm not sure. Let's see, what else have I covered? I put the LED light bar on, put the heater in. The heater is awesome. Put the soft top on. It comes with the roof. I had the front and back window and the seat heater sitting at the house before I even had the machine. I've wired the seat heater up, but I haven't folded the upholstery back yet to put the pad in there. But it's all wired. Once I get brave enough to pull the upholstery off of this thing, I'll be able to just plug them in and I'll have heated seats. As far as the way the ride command performs, I wish the mapping was better, but they do updates on it all the time, so they're trying to make it better. I'm sure down the line it'll be 10 times better than it is now. But when you get out there in the middle of nowhere, it is nice, if for nothing else, the feature where it follows you so you can track back to where you parked. So you can't really get lost because you can always backtrack because it does that automatically. As far as the maps in there and all the different areas, that's what I'm saying. I wish it had more. There's some riding areas I've gone to that it doesn't know any of it. I wish you could download maps to it. You know, like you can get the Avenza map on your app on your phone or your tablet, and you can download maps of different areas, and it can follow you all around, and it shows you all the details and topo and all that. I wish it had that feature, and maybe it'll have an update someday and be able to do it a little more like that. There are some areas I've gone to that it does have the maps, and they're fairly close. The diagnostic issue is nice. The diagnostic function. So I can punch into there and bring up if there's any codes. Like I've been going down the trail before and have the wrench flashing on the dash. And you can look at the diagnostic code and it'll tell you that you have a misfire in cylinder 1. Well, what I found is that's caused from hitting a big puddle and soaking the engine. Causes a misfire. As soon as the engine dries out, the problem's gone. So if you get one of those misfires, it may be caused by that. This is my second take. For some reason it didn't record right the first time, and I think I mentioned more things the first time I recorded this. This is the problem with not doing a script. So the dump bed, I love that feature. I don't think I've talked about that yet. I've put a full load of topsoil in here before, and it's pretty hard to dump. So it just has a little shock absorber like the back of your car would have to raise up your trunk. It's not meant to lift the 600 pounds that this can hold. So if you put a lot of weight in it, you got to keep it towards the rear so you can dump it. Tow's great. I think I've already mentioned that. I love the suspension. The ride is great. I've only adjusted it, I think, one time. there's a place that I like going up this hill climb in, I'll put it in 4-wheel drive, and I just try flying up it, and it's pretty rough, and I had somebody with me that time, and I cranked it up a little bit, and with the extra weight you could tell the difference. The handling was still there. Turned it back afterwards, so I've pretty much left them the way they came, stock, as far as the settings, other than that one time that I played with it. The front might be 1 click different than it was, and if I'm remembering right, there's 16 clicks. So I know there's things I'm forgetting to mention. There's so much stuff you could talk about on this machine. The gist of it, I do recommend them. I do like it. The clutch belt slippage issue I have is the only thing I wish I didn't have. But like I say, that's only when I go sand duning. Everywhere else performs awesome. So throw a bunch of extra belts in it, hit the dunes, have fun. Anyway, I'll do some future videos. If there's anything that you want to see in particular, if you want a review of front window, back window, any other accessories, I've got mirrors on here, anything like that, go ahead and comment below and I'll try to do a video on that. Any questions, comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It'll help the channel out. And I'm sure I forgot some stuff, but that's all for today. We'll catch you on the next one.